Is doing well. You guys could raise your hand if you can see my screen, please. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put your hands down. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well also. We're going to give everybody a minute to arrive, and then we are going to continue learning, yes, food, about 3D printing. This is going to be our second lesson, and we're going to start actually modeling today. We're going to start a series of tutorials on something called Tinkercad, which is going to allow us to 3D print. So we're just waiting for everybody to get here. Yes, it is possible to 3D print edible food, and we'll see that today. There's a 3D printer. You guys actually are going to 3D print in lab, and we should be able to hook up to a 3D printer and print something during this class to a 3D, not during this class, but next Monday, to an actual physical 3D printer in Mr. Dubik's lab, and we'll be able to watch it through the webcam. But you guys will be physically 3D printing, and you'll be right by the printer when it prints your stuff in lab. All right. And we got about 10 people here this evening. That's great. It's a good number. Happy to have everybody here. And we are going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a review of kind of some of the stuff that we went over last week. Last week we saw some cool ways that 3D printing was being used. We met a duck who got a prosthetic made especially for him, Buttercup the duck. And that prosthetic was scanned from his other leg and 3D printed. We've seen how humans can use prosthetics, 3D printed prosthetics, to have a more personalized, cheaper prosthetic. We've seen it in jewelry, in other clothing industries, and the way that it works, you take a 3D model of an object and you model it on a computer. You will not need your pies tonight. You will not need your pies tonight. You take that 3D model and it gets sliced by specialized software into layers. Then the 3D printer prints each layer, one on top of the other. It prints a layer, and then the plate that the 3D print is sitting on moves down a little bit. The printer prints another layer, and the plate moves down. And that's how it's built. It's really good for highly personalized objects. Traditional manufacturing is still better for mass production. Buttercup's 3D printed foot did not connect to Buttercup's nerves. Good. Anna Windsor joined the Scratch Studio. I hope everybody's gotten a chance to look at the Scratch Studio. And we also saw that when you do traditional manufacturing, you end up with a lot of scrap. and you start with a big shape and you have to hammer off all the excess pieces. While with this, what's called additive, additive manufacturing, as opposed to subtractive manufacturing, you end up with very little waste. It could reduce material costs by up to 90% because you don't end up with that pile of scrap at the end. Builds exactly however much you need. Yes, Buttercup's prosthetic was a traditional prosthetic, so it would fit on the stump of the leg that Buttercup had, and Buttercup could like kind of balance on it, and it had spring supports at the bottom where the leg met the foot, so that when Buttercup would press down, it was kind of forgiving and it would help Buttercup walk. Yeah, the scraps could be. You can 3D print out of recycled materials, so Mira asked, could scraps be used to 3D print? Yeah, they could. They absolutely could. That's a really smart idea. And it all started with this man, Chuck Hull, the father of 3D printing. Alright, we saw a 3D printed car. We took a look at a 3D printed models of actual human beings' organs that doctors look at before they perform surgery. We saw this prosthetic that at least the plastic part is printed, and it's a smart prosthetic, so it can connect up to human nerves, but it's a much cheaper way to get the plastic part made. We saw a cast, and I think that these cords are actually just used to go around his neck, like her shoulder, to like support the arm. I think that's what those are used for. And this is a 3D printed cast. It's able to provide more support at where the break actually is, and it could potentially help bones heal faster. We saw houses being made in China that were very big, that used almost like an icing bag full of cement kind of materials to make these large houses. And here is where we're going to start off on some new material. 3D printed food. So over here you'll see there's a machine that actually is able to 3D print the dough, the sauce, and the cheese for little pizzas. Which is more kind of just like a novelty, it's just for fun. But in the future, people are hoping that they'd be able to use 3D printers to print substantial food, to get people food, fresh food quickly. Imagine a vending machine that could 3D print out all the stuff. And over here, these are like crackers that are made in the shape of a horse. You can also make pancakes with a 3D printer, which is neat. And again, these are more like novelty things. It's really important to realize that they're not 3D printing the material. Like, that's just pizza dough that's being printed in a shape. And that's just pizza sauce being printed in a shape. And the cheese was not 3D printed. I think they sprinkled the cheese on there by hand. Alright, and we're going to watch this short video that talks a little bit about the future of 3D printing. I see we have some horse lovers. Huh. Well, that's no good. Let's see what's going on. So my sound isn't working. One moment. Well, maybe we'll try to come back to this, since I'm not sure why we're not getting any success here with the audio. What is going on? Oh, thank you. Someone asked how I was doing. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking me that. I wish that I could get the audio to work, but I will investigate that, and I'm not going to waste any more time with it right now. So we'll come back to this at the end of class. Okay. It's really cool. You get to see some of the newest things that are happening, and the speaker is really good. Talking about all sorts of things. That's the first thing that was ever 3D printed. He's holding it in his hand. Literally, that, what he's holding in his hand, was the first thing ever 3D printed. Not the same model, not from the same printer. That is the first thing. Yeah! Someone pointed out that there's an ad for Citrix right here. It might be the video. You know what, Mira? You're right. So I will investigate. Okay. Let's move on, and then we'll come back. So this is the continuation of the history. The MakerBot Replicator are the founders of the Maker community, and they were kind of the first people to provide these completed 3D printers for individuals. And they helped create something called Thingiverse, which I will bring up later. It's this very cool open source website where you can see other people's models and print their models and go in and actually edit their models and modify them to personalize them for your own kind of designs. And this is how you all will be 3D printing. You will be making your 3D models, and you'll be printing from a 3D printer very similar to this one, and then you'll have the little model in your hand. Alright, so let's get started on how to make those models. We're going to be using Tinkercad, which is web-based. That means that you don't have to download anything on your computer, but if you're using an iPad, you won't be able to do Tinkercad right now. So Tinkercad is easy. You do need to set up an account, but we're going to go through it together step by step. So we're going to go here, and we're going to sign up for a free account. We'll all do this together. Oops. Tinkercad is, okay, so tinkering, it's this, is a word that engineers use for like kind of having fun and building something, trying something new, learning, by tinkering, by taking something apart and putting it back together and making modifications to it, etc., etc. And Tinkercad, the CAD stands for Computer Aided Design, CAD. It's a field of something that people do if they're animators for Pixar, the group that made Finding Nemo and stuff like that. They use CAD for 3D modeling. If you're creating computer parts, if you are an architect, anytime that you're making something 3D on the computer, that's CAD, or Computer Aided Design, Computer Aided Drawing. Even if you're working in 2D, if you're drafting in 2D on the computer, that's still Computer Aided Design. That's still CAD. Well, you may have heard of something called AutoCAD. It's like a very famous software for drafting. Yes, I think you guys are going to make checkers. That's true. Alright, I'm going to send this out in chat. Tinkercad.com. And you want to go ahead and instead of doing start tinkering now, you're going to hit join now at the upper right. So everybody go to that link and hit join now in the upper right hand corner. If you can't do it right now, if you're on an iPad, if your computer's not working, don't worry, this is all being recorded. I almost accidentally exited out of the recording, but I did not, so no worries. We will all have this to watch back. And Autodesk is the company that makes AutoCAD. Very famous software, very powerful software. If you want to be an engineer, you will work with AutoCAD. Well, Autodesk makes AutoCAD, and they made Tinkercad. Tinkercad is completely free, which is really cool. Alright, we're going to take our time with this, getting set up in the account. Try to stick with me as we go through this process here. Join now. You go to tinkercad.com and you click join now. Whoops. Oh, click register for free if you don't see join now. We might have to do with the browser. Anna, just hold on. Don't jump ahead. And then I can help with the account. But if you jump ahead, I'm gonna have trouble. So either hit join now or register for free, something like that. And you should be prompted to something similar to this. Okay. Once you get here, enter in your birthday. They need to know how old you are. I believe it's the reason they ask for your birthday. But you don't have to give them your complete birthday if you don't feel comfortable with that. And hit next. You don't want to sign up with Facebook. I'm not sure if you guys have a Facebook, but you don't want to sign up with it. Go ahead and sign up with an email and password. You don't want it connected to your Facebook. Not for this class. So you can use the Gmail account that you set up for this class, or that you are borrowing or sharing with your parents. And then you're going to create a password and hit create account. And just be patient. All right. Let's see what we got here. Good. Okay, that's okay if your students show up like that. Let's see what's going on. Yes, Annika. Hello? Annika, I can't hear you. I'm wondering if the audio issue is on my end, because here, Annika, let's try now. Oh, I can see it says that you're talking, but I cannot hear it. I'm very sorry. Is there any way you can type what you see? And I will look at my system preferences real fast. That was why the YouTube video wasn't working. Sometimes GoToWebinar does that to my audio. Let me see if there's a way I can fix it. Oh, that worked. Okay, let's try that. Let's try now, Annika. Ugh. Still no. Okay. I'm sorry, Annika. I can't hear you. Let me see if you sent me a message. I know, Holly and Azelle both can hear you. You know what? Oh, let me get my headphones. That worked last time. All right, one more time, Annika. Yay! I can hear you. You mean could my username be Denise Dubik? I mean, my password be the same as my username? I'm not sure. Have you been here before? Oh, okay. Then, I guess I'm just confused by your question. You just want to make it the same so that you don't get confused? Okay, yeah, I think that would be completely fine. Okay, no problem. Okay, Caitlin is in. Let's see, Valerie. I'm going to unmute you, okay? Hey, Valerie. What's going on? Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah, some of this stuff, you know, I don't know if it's people using, like I'm using Safari, and it shows up a little bit on Google Chrome, but yeah, that was even happening in my classroom where we have identical computers. Everyone was using the same web browser. You know, some of the pop-ups are a little different, so you should be able to kind of navigate to this similar place. And the way I got here was you can click on your little username, and this is my profile. I think edit profile will bring you to this page. Oops, no it will not. Okay. Try clicking, yeah, click on the Tinkercad in the left-hand corner, and it'll bring you to this place. So we're all trying to get to this place. Can you raise your hand once you have an account and it has brought you to a page similar to this one? Raise your hand once you're at a page similar to this one. You have an account, and you can even click right here, and it should bring you to this page. Okay. I see people's hands going up and then going back down. Please leave your hand up. No, don't start learning. Okay, some people are saying start learning now, and I think the issue is my username already existed. So if you, it's okay if you change your profile pic. Some people are saying they're at a different page, and I think it should say something like begin lesson or start learning now. That's okay. If you click learn, you can get to these lessons. So actually, don't click on this one, or you can, it doesn't matter, but click on learn. Even if it says start learning now, it should take you to the same thing. Click on this learn, and we're going to go through the Tinkercad lesson. Now some people are saying that it needs to approve the email. Yes, we are going to use it today. I'm a little confused why your mom has to create a whole new account. Valerie, try, or anyone that their account's not quite working. One, you can just watch the recording at another time. Let me see if it's going to let me. No. I stay logged in. Hold on. There should be a way that you can try to log out and just work without, just go to start tinkering now. Let's see if that'll let me. Nope. Oh dear. Does not look like it's gonna let me learn without creating an account. So sorry, Valerie. Alright, I'm gonna sign in. I'm gonna put everyone's hands down. Alright, so I'm gonna click, you should be on the learn page, or it should say start learning now. If you see anything like that, you should be good. Could you all raise your hand if you need help getting to this page? Getting to one of the lessons. Hey Caitlin, what's going on? Okay, okay. No worries, no worries. Anyone else? Okay. So I know that some people, they're just trying to go through the extra steps, or they may not be able to do it today, but we, my account just jumped me to the first lesson. Yes, that's okay. It might just jump you to the first lesson. Okay, Valerie, so just kind of watch along, and these are really self-paced, but I'm going to go through them with you just so that you can see, if you want to see what's going on in my screen, that you can. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Anna, do not pay 50 cents. Hold on, hold on. I'm going to call on Holly. Do not pay anything. Okay, you don't need to pay anything. If it's asking for money, you might not be at the right site. So make sure you're at a site that looks like this. I've never heard of Tinkercad asking for money. Should not pay even 50 cents. Hey Holly, what's going on? Oh, because of your age. I see, Valerie. That's what you were, Valerie was talking about that as well. I did not realize that. So, oh man, okay. I guess she will have to go through that step and verify your account. I'm sorry for that extra step. But, so it looks like for a certain age when you enter your birthday, they want your parents to go on and make an account to verify that you are allowed to be on Tinkercad, which isn't a bad step necessarily. So hopefully, if you have to go through that, your parent can hopefully verify that account before Wednesday, and you can kind of follow along for right now. Wait. What? Oh, it tells your parents need to pay 50 cents? This is wild. This is wild. Let me message Mr. Dubik about this. We need to fudge our ages. Hold on. I see what you're saying, Anna. All right. Waiting. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, those of you who someone said that they just use a parent's birthday. Not just. Let's see what Mr. Dubik says. Okay. Mr. Dubik says he's not heard anything about this 50 cents thing. And that he agrees with me. You shouldn't enter any sort of payment information. Something is wrong. Okay. So I would make an alternate account. Try again. And maybe check with your parent, make sure it's okay for you to make an account, and then you can make an account with maybe an older birthday. But make sure you're using the link that I sent you, and Mr. Dubik is looking into it right now. Okay, we're going to get started. At least you'll have the beginning lessons. I really want to make sure they get on the recording, just in case someone has trouble with the moves. So we're going to keep going again. If your parent can confirm your account, that's great. Yeah, Mr. Dubik says just list your age as being born in 2000 or earlier. The content on here is very safe, and make sure your parents are okay with you using Tinkercad, but that's what he recommends. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. The first lesson is called Learning the Moves. And if you feel comfortable, you can move at your own pace. But if you want to move along with me, I'll be showing you kind of how this works. So I hit that first lesson, Learning the Moves. And you'll see here you can see a staircase and the cover for a staircase. And this is your work area. You can imagine this being the plate that gets 3D printed on. You got some view controls over here that we'll learn in a little bit. You'll notice that you have an undo button. That will be very helpful for later on. And you have a lot of different shapes over here. But to go through the lesson, you'll see that you have these messages that'll help prompt you through each stage. So let's learn to move shapes along the work plane. Let's get started. Just drag the light brown construction to the area outlined in orange. Be as accurate as you want. Well, I'm going to be really accurate. And the way I'm going to do that, see this little door? I'm going to click the door at the bottom right corner and click and drag, so that it matches up to that bottom right corner. And I'm also going to be looking at the top. I think that's pretty accurate. I'll hit undo and I'll show you again. I was trying to be accurate, so I tried to line up the bottom right corner of this door with the bottom right corner of that door. And I release my mouse, and I'm going to hit next. Hooray! Not too challenging, not too bad. So the next lesson, we're going to learn the camera controls. I'll give you a hint, there's something exciting behind that curtain. Ooh, Valerie has a great note for us. She says, if you're not approved by your parent, you can still do the lessons. Because again, this stuff is not, it's all very appropriate. So let's look around and zoom. I'm going to hit next. That's what we're learning though. It's how to look around and zoom. Turn your view from the arrows at the upper left corner. Press up. And notice that you may think that we are going to go straight up in the air. But actually it's like we're a globe and we're turning the globe a little bit. And then we're going to turn right. And you kind of have to weasel your way around here. Oops. And again, you have that undo in case you ever make a mistake. You can hit the plus to zoom in. And by hitting the little home, it'll reset you from the beginning. And we're going to do it quicker by using the mouse. To do that, you just hold your right button down. If you're using a Mac, you can hold down the control and then your regular mouse click. And this allows you to kind of pivot around the point. Ooh, there's a little star there. Almost like you're in a giant beach ball. You can zoom in or out with your scroll wheel. And you can hold down your right click while holding the shift key to pan, which means to move left, right, up, or down. Not along the beach ball, but just actually up, like climbing upwards. Spend some time with this because it's not always easy. You can tell right now I'm having a hard time trying to get to just Elvis. Look at that beautiful view. Alright, so we're done with our lesson. We got our little bouncing stars. And the next lesson is creating holes. This is actually a really interesting thing that we're going to explore in Tinkercad. Before I get going, I'm going to check my questions, see if anyone has a question or needs help. Holly, I'm going to put your hand down. Anyone need help right now? Anyone need help, you can raise your hand. You can send me a message. Let's see. Anna, glad it's fixed. Good. Glad it's fixed and no 50 cents were paid. How do you copy paste? Let me show you. I've got to start my lesson. I believe you can copy paste. Ooh, this thing's fancy. By hitting Command C or Control C. Yeah, okay, so what I did was I selected this wrench, and I'm using a Mac, so I hit Command C. But if you're using a PC, you would hit Control C on your keyboard for copy. And then I hit Command V. But if you're on a PC, you would use Control V, and that's how you paste. I don't think we've gotten there yet, but if you wanted to know, that's how you do it. Alright, it's time to create some tools. Well, let's get started. We are going to drag the brown hexagonal prism. Oops. And we are going to put it right there because we're making a wrench. So imagine something with a wrench-shaped mouth taking a bite out of this circle. So we're going to go to our shape list and scroll down. Oops. That's not good. There we go. By clicking on this, that's where it happened. And look for a hexagonal prism. So again, to get to the shape list, I clicked right here. And this is what was created. And I'm going to drag it into this orange place. Whoops. You can change any shape to a hole, which means instead of it being a physical shape, you're going to take away, you're going to use it to cut with. Like this hole here, you're going to make this a hole. And I did that by clicking hole in the inspector. And now what I'm going to do is select both objects by this, or by clicking, holding down Shift, and selecting the second. Even though it's a hole, it's still an object. I'm going to hit Group up here at the little mountains. And now you can see it looks like a hole. Hooray! Alright, next lesson, scale, copy, and paste. Alright, so we're starting with a blank work plane. And we're going to find this orange cylinder, and to do that, I click orange cylinder, or I click this little shape up here on my orange cylinder, and I'm going to drag it onto the little orange shape there. And I'm going to drag one more onto there, like it's telling me to do. Now we're going to scale this to a height of 15 millimeters. Then I'm going to click and drag it until downwards. until we get to the 15 millimeter mark. Notice you can scale any shape, or that moved it upwards. Whoops. Let me undo. But this white dot is how you scale. That arrow is how you move up. That arrow is how you rotate. Alright, I'm going to drag one more cylinder here. And this one needs to be at 10 millimeters. Oh, easy as pie. And again, whoop. Next is keyring letters. Ooh. So we're going to start by dragging the letters onto here. We're going to make it so snapping means that these can only fit every millimeter. So we're going to let them fit to 0.25 so they can fit between the millimeter marks. Ooh, let me start over. And I like that it gives you advice on keyboard arrows. So here I'm moving just 0.25 millimeters at a time. So the first thing I'm going to do in this lesson is change my view so it's a little bit easier to see. So I'm holding right click down. I'm going to zoom in. And then I'm going to hold shift down while I right click to pan. I'm going to move this comment out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. I got my K. My A. Let's find myself a T. And notice you can change the color up here, but for 3D printing it doesn't really matter. You wouldn't have a multicolored thing in 3D printing. You could paint it after you were done printing it, but with the 3D printers you'll be using in this class, it's only going to print out in one color. And let's make sure that looks okay. Let's see here. Trying to get my tilts to work. Yeah, that looks flat. Looks pretty good. Okay, Annika, I'm sorry, you can try to make an account and just make your birthday after 2000 as long as it's okay with your mom. But I'm sorry, Annika, and you can watch the recording later at another time. We're about to switch to the video as we have 10 minutes left in class. Mira has some good advice. She says it can be helpful with the different colors while you're designing so that you can see the different parts of your design. And now, because we don't want this to be too long, we can use this black dot. Notice these are to resize, the white dots, and this is to rotate. This black dot will make it smaller, so we're going to trim to the right shape, the right size. And we'll delete the rest of our letters because we wouldn't want those letters randomly 3D printed. Maybe you would want it, but for the sake of today, we don't want it. Why these are staying here. That's okay. And we'll group it together. Hooray! Oh, I don't know what 3D tin is. I'm not going to start the next lesson. We'll finish that up on Wednesday, but I do want to try this video one more time. Wow. Alright, girls, keep working on your Tinkercad. Let me... Hey, Mira. Hello? Oh, yeah? I'm sorry, what did you say? I'm sorry, my sound actually cut out. What did you say to try? Ah, yeah, that's a really good idea. Thank you, because I'm getting more and more frustrated trying to figure this out. That's a wonderful idea. Let me do that. Let me show the screen. And it's a good, good video. Watch on your own time. Thank you, Mira. It just has some, especially if you're interested in 3D printing, some cool things coming up. So I'll post, how about this? I'll post this to Edmodo. And this one's neat as well. The printing a human kidney. So I'll post that to Edmodo. So that way you guys have it for longer than just this here. Whoa. Yeah, Mira, we're actually going to have really specifics for the checkers. You can start on something like a checker for now, but they're going to want, Mr. Dubik's going to want you to start from a template. So just go ahead and start your own design, or look at the other designs that people have. How can I stack things? Cool. Annika says that she subscribes to TED and they listen to them on a long car ride. Yeah, and just play with Tinkercad right now. Then, once you finish the lessons, I do want you to work through all the lessons. So, Die on the Work Plane. We'll actually do Die on the Work Plane together on Wednesday. If you haven't started it, don't worry. I do want to go through these kind of as a group, however possible. Someone asked, how do I stack things? Oops. So I'll just begin this lesson here. Let's say I have a box. To stack it on top of the other box, let's see, this is 20 millimeters. I'm hovering over the little white square and I'm seeing the height. I can use this cone to move it upwards by 20 millimeters. And then I can, if I change my view, this might be a little bit more difficult than I wanted it to be. And there we go. And remember, you got to group them together if you want it to be one shape. And now if I try to move one, I move them both. Good. If you've already did that lesson, that's okay. Just know that's how we're going to start out Wednesday. Alright, so I'll post that video for you all on Edmodo. Have a wonderful evening. Unless someone else has another question, we are going to start out on Wednesday doing this die. On Wednesday, we'll probably also update our Google pages with some Minecraft stuff. So keep an eye on Edmodo for some more Scratch challenges and some more Minecraft challenges. And have a wonderful evening. Does anyone have any questions before I head off this evening? Oh, Anna, I just showed you how to stack stuff. The boxes. That's how. You pull two boxes on there, and I checked the height. It's 20 millimeters by hovering over the little white square. And you pull on the cone to move it upwards. I'm going to move it upwards 20 millimeters. And then I'm going to use my left arrow key to move it over. Change my view to see. Apparently I moved it too high. Oh no, that's perfect. Move it over. One. There we go. And they're stacked. I was using my arrow keys a lot because I'm trying to be precise. You mean oh? I mean, oh, Anna, I'm not really sure what you mean. But hopefully that makes sense. And then make sure you group them together. Alright, on that note, I do have to go. Oh, if you're making a creeper, well, you'd have to actually make a creeper. There's more stuff than just stacking. But okay, we'll get into it, Anna.